ॐ हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः, भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः, स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः, स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः, स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः, स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। निधये सर्वविद्यानां विशदे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्लोक नंबर 2। बोधोन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनं पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानं विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति। Front light is not there, so you are going to see the reflection on my glasses today, reflection of the computer. There is no electricity at the moment here. It's okay. So Shankaracharya has made a very strong statement that without this Atmagnanam there is no moksha. So there can be questions. Somebody can ask the question, how can you say so? So why not karma and gnana together? Gnana karma samuchaya together. So we say karma also is required. Yasma nitya naimikadi sadhanam chitta shuddhi dwara kramena muktim sadhayishyate. Karma also is useful, but not for the knowledge. Karma is useful for the chitta shuddhi, the purification of the mind. Karma is required. But knowledge is the only means which can give us the moksha. So then suppose somebody raised the question that, no, in Shastra it is said, Yavat Jivam Agnihotram Jukhyat. As long as you live, you should perform the Agnihotra karma. You should perform the Sandhya Vandanadi karma. Not only that, it is said very clearly. So Vidwan has to perform this action. Vidwan yajeta iti atra. So there Vidwan is what? There Vidwan is not the person who has a self-knowledge, the wise person. Vidwan means a person who has known the mantra, yajna, Veda. So person knows Veda, person knows how to perform the yajna. So that person is called Vidwan there, not the person who has a self-knowledge. And therefore, also Bhagavan also said in Gita, Lokesmin Dvivida Nishtha Pura Prokta Mayanaga. There are two types of the Nishtha, lifestyle. Nishtha means lifestyle here. One is a Gnana Yogena Sankhyana, Karma Yogena Yogina. One is that person who has not achieved the Chinta Shuddhi. He has to go for the Karma Yoga. He lives the life of Karma Yoga. And also, along with this, he is also trying to accomplish this knowledge. It is not one to understand. First, I will go for Karma Yoga, then I will go for Gnana Yoga. No. Karma Yoga also is required. And knowledge, listening to the Shastra also is required. And so, only two lifestyles are there. One is the yogi lifestyle, another is the Sankhya, that is the Gnana Yoga. Not only that, knowledge liberates person from this samsara. Now, this logic we have to clearly understand. First question is, knowledge is going to produce moksha, liberation. Knowledge is going to give you liberation. So, we need to understand what the knowledge is. Knowledge has no capacity to create anything. We, in our Shastra, we compare the knowledge with the light. Knowledge is equal to light. Ignorance is a andhakara. Ignorance means what? It is a darkness. Knowledge is a light. Suppose there is a room and a lot of furniture is there, frames, photographs is there, watch is there, wall clock is there. But when there is a darkness in the room, we don't see any of this object. Because everything is covered by the darkness. Now, when we switch off the light, switch on the light, what happens? We see all these objects in the room. Does light create all these things? No. The nature of the light is that it illumines the object which is there in front of it. Light doesn't create anything, it illumines. Similarly, ignorance is the one which covers everything. In 5th chapter, Bhagavan said, Agnanena avrutam gnanam. The knowledge, the self is being covered by the ignorance. Now, what Gnan does? Gnan does two things. Understand this properly. Gnan dispels the ignorance. and illumines the self as it is. So, Gnanam is the which already is covered with the ignorance. So what we have to do? We have to remove the ignorance. Further it will come, the example will come. So light does not create anything. Similarly, knowledge does not create anything. And therefore, knowledge is not going to give you moksha. Understand this properly. Though we say that vina gnana moksha na siddhyati. Without knowledge, we cannot accomplish the moksha. But that doesn't mean that gnanam, the knowledge, is going to create the moksha. Because knowledge doesn't have a capacity to create anything. So therefore, we have to understand this connection between the knowledge and the liberation, moksha. So, what knowledge does then? By knowledge, when you say, by knowledge you gain this moksha, what is the meaning of that? Agnanam is being removed, understand? Moksha is not created, it is there. Brother Upanishad, it says, Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhava. What is the nature, Swabhava? What is the nature of the self? Who are you? You are Nitya Muktaha. Look at the first word. Nitya Mukta. You are eternally liberated. Nitya Shuddha. Eternally pure. Nitya Buddha. Eternally knowledgeable. Understand? Atma is the consciousness. Atma is the one which illumines the ignorance also. Suppose I ask you whether you know Gujarati language, then you say what? Oh no, I don't know. So when somebody says, I don't know Gujarati, that means the person knows that I have an ignorance of the Gujarati. That means he has a knowledge of the ignorance of Gujarati. So you are the self, you are the consciousness which illumines the ignorance, illumines the knowledge. I know Tamil. That means the knowledge of Tamil is being illumined by you. So you are that consciousness which illumines the ignorance also and illumines the knowledge also. Suppose you are standing in the darkness and somebody says, okay, look there on the left side, there is a file, you bring it. Then what will you say? Oh, it's dark here, I can't see anything. Look at this sentence. It's dark here, I can't see anything. You can't see anything? No. You are seeing the darkness. Do you understand what I'm telling? You are seeing the darkness. That means your eyes has that light which illumines the light also, which illumines the ignorance also. That darkness also. You see the darkness. The eye has such a light which illumines the darkness. Understand? You are seeing the darkness. You are seeing the light. And therefore, the consciousness is already there. Consciousness is the one which is illumining the ignorance. And therefore, knowledge is not that going to be liberated. You are Nitya Mukta. Only the ignorance has to be removed. Once the ignorance is removed, you see that I am that consciousness, which is knowledge. And therefore, Gnanam Vinana Siddhyati, when we say Gnan, don't make the statement that knowledge is going to create the liberation, moksha. No. You are Nitya Mukta, you are eternally liberated. But because of the ignorance, you have superimposed that I am ignorant. I am human being. I am born. I am going to die. I am man. I am woman. All these things are being superimposed on you. By knowledge, all these superimpositions, adhyaropa, is going to be removed. And therefore, we have to have very clear understanding that knowledge cannot produce anything, cannot create anything. It only dispels the ignorance. And that is what we require. Once the ignorance is gone, that is what in 5th chapter Bhagavan says, Agnanena avrutam gnanam tena muhyanti jantam. Because of the ignorance, people are deluded. Then what is to be done? If ignorance is the problem, the knowledge is the solution. And therefore Bhagavan says, Gnanena tu tadagnanam nashitam atman. By the knowledge of the self, the ignorance of the self is being removed. Understand? So therefore, we have to have very clear understanding that nobody needs to create the moksha. If it is created, then what will happen? That which is being created will die. In Gita, Bhagavan says, Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityu. That which is being born is going to die. That which is born in the time will die in the time. So if you create the moksha, then no problem. Moksha is being created, then it will go one day. Therefore, we don't need to create the moksha. Moksha is already you. But because of the ignorance, you don't know that I am Nitya Muktaha. And so by removing the ignorance, you are liberated. So though it is two actions, looks like a two, knowledge and moksha. In English, it is called simultaneous. Simultaneous means, Sanskrit is called yugapada, at one moment. In our Shastra, the example is given of the wood. Suppose somebody is cutting the wood. Suppose we ask, why are you cutting the wood? Oh, I want 2 pieces of the wood. So cutting the wood and 2 pieces of the wood, it is what? Simultaneous. You cut the wood and it becomes 2 pieces. And it's called simultaneous. Similarly, the knowledge and the moksha, it is a one step only. But first the knowledge has to be there, then the moksha is. And therefore, we have to have very clear understanding that knowledge is not going to produce moksha. It removes the ignorance that Nitya Mukta Atma is being you. And therefore, Shankaracharya, a very strong statement he is making here that by knowledge only moksha is possible. Without gnanam, there is no moksha. Now, suppose you say, no, karma also is there. Why not karma gives me the moksha? So in the next verse, Shankaracharya gives the logic why karma cannot give you the liberation. So, 3rd verse we will read. Avirodhitaya karma na vidyam vinivartayet vidya vidyam nihanteva tejastimida sangavata Tejastimirasanghavad. Look at this. By action, one cannot gain the moksha. Why? So Shankaracharya gives the reason. I already told you yesterday. All logic, nothing else is there. You have no chance to move here and there. Logically, Shankaracharya is teaching us this. So one karma cannot give me the liberation, because our problem is the ignorance. Now, karma cannot remove the ignorance. So in the verse, Shankaracharya says, avirodhi daya karma na avidyam viniyavartaye. Karma is not opposite to the avidya, and therefore it cannot remove the avidya. Suppose there is some taint on my cloth. First thing what we will do, we'll try with the water. I try with the water, it doesn't go. Then what we will do? We'll take the petrol and apply here. We try the soap. So with water it doesn't go, then we'll try with the soap. With the soap also it doesn't go. Why? There is an oil is there. The soap is not opposite to the oil, and therefore soap cannot remove the oil. So we have to have a petrol which can remove the oil. So if I want to remove something, I have to bring the opposite of that. Darkness I have to remove, then opposite of the darkness is the light. So light is there, no darkness. So that's why Shankaracharya gives the argument that karma being not opposite to the avidya, it cannot remove the avidya. So I always tell, what is karma? Look at this way. Why anybody is performing action? Understand? We perform the action to gain certain desired result. And why it is desired? Because there is a conclusion in the mind that this will make me happy. Anything for which you have a conclusion that this will make me happy, then to gain that, you perform the action. Right? So, karma is there. Why? To get the desired object called ichha. Because of the ichha, because of the desire, you perform the action. But why that desire is there? Desire to be happy is there. Education will make me happy, so I will go for it. Marriage will make me happy, I will go for it. Children will make me happy, I will go for it. Business will make me happy, I will go for it. Understand? So, any action, there is desire is there. Ichha. But the desire also is there because of what? Why I want to be happy? Because I am sad. I am sorrowful. I am unhappy. Look at this. Why I am unhappy? What makes me unhappy? Because I don't know I am the happiness. So I want to gain happiness. That means what? There is the ignorance of the self. Atma Agnanam is there. We don't know the real true nature of the self. If person knows the true nature of the self, the desire is not required. Action is not required. And therefore, If we see the lineage, action is there because of the ichcha, desire is there because of the ignorance of the self. That means what? This avidya is a grandmother of this action. Because of the avidya only there is a desire, and because of the desire there is action. So the action is a grandson of this avidya. That means it is not opposite of the avidya. If it is not opposite of avidya, it cannot remove the avidya. And therefore Shankaracharya says, karma is not being not opposite of avidya, it cannot remove that. Then what can remove the avidya? So Shankaracharya said, vidya avidyam nihanti eva. Only vidya, the knowledge only can destroy, nihanti, destroy the avidya. And then Shankaracharya gives the example, what we are already discussing, tejaha timira sanghavata. Whatever dark, suppose there is a deep darkness is there. Swamini used to tell, suppose there is a cave. 5,000 years old cave is there. That means the darkness in the cave also is what? 5,000 years old darkness is there. When you go with the torch there, what happens? Even though it is a 5,000 years old darkness, it removes, the light removes the darkness immediately. Do you understand? Tejaha timira sanghavata. Timira sangha means whatever in dark is there. The darkness, deepest darkness is there, that also will get removed by this light, tejaha. Tejaha means light. Similarly, this agnanam is there, avidya is there, ignorance is there. From long time, understand. So our problem is avidya. And that avidya has to be removed by the vidya. So suppose somebody asks, why this avidya is there? We're supposed to ask this question, understand? How come avidya is there? Two questions are there. How come avidya is there? One question. Second question is, how it is being created or born? When did ignorance start? And how long it is there? That means, is there a time when the ignorance started? So we say ignorance is not started at particular time. It is called anadi. Anadi means, adi means the starting point. Anadi means it's not started. It's already there. From infinite time, the ignorance is there. Ignorance is not started, not born. But suppose we say ignorance is started. Agnana is started. What will happen? Suppose anything is born. This simple logic. Anything is born. So before the moment of the beginning of the object, there should be the absence of the object, correct? Anything is being created. So before that, it was absent. There was no object. So before the moment of the creation of the object, there is absence of the object. Similarly, suppose you say ignorance is born. So before the moment of the birth of the ignorance, there should be what? Absence of ignorance. Correct? If there is absence of ignorance is there, then what will be there? Knowledge. If there is an absence of ignorance, there will be knowledge. If knowledge is there, because there is absence of ignorance, then if the knowledge is there, ignorance can start? No. So, therefore, there is no beginning of the ignorance. And once it is not having a big beginning, then you cannot say how long ignorance was there. Ignorance is. There were two great Mahatmas, one Swarupanandji, who was a Shankaracharya of Dwarika, Shankaracharya Pita. He was a Shankaracharya Swarupanandji. Just few months before only he has taken Samadhi. And there was another Mahatma in Vrindavan, Akhananandji Maharaj. They were co-students. So they were traveling to different places for this knowledge, satsang. So once they were thinking about this, they studied Shastra in Kashi. And they were always studying Shastra themselves also. So they had this doubt. What is the ignorance? How it is being created? How it is being there? Why the existence of ignorance? So they discussed both of them, but they could not conclude something. So their guru was there. It's called Udiya Baba. He was known as Udiya Baba in Vrindavan because he was from the Odisha, Orissa. So both of them decided, let's go to Guru and ask Udiya Baba. And Udiya Baba had never traveled in any vehicles. He always, from one village to another village, he used to go. And then he will be there with small hut. He will make himself small hut, or the village people will make small hut for him, and then he will stay there. Then whenever he feels like going, any day, early morning, he will start walking in any direction and he is gone to some other place. So this Akhananandji Maharaj and Swarupanandji found out that Udiya Baba is there in that nearby village. So they went there. And Udiya Baba had, that morning he will get up, he will do his meditations and all that, and then he will sit there. Whoever comes for satsang, he will do satsang with them. So Akhananandji Maharaj and Swarupanandji Maharaj also went there. So Udiya Baba was sitting there alone. So they were happy that, okay, nobody is there, so they have enough time to discuss with Udiya Baba. So they presented this situation, that this ignorance. So Udiya Baba kept on listening to them quietly. What just they were telling, this is the ignorance, this is how it is, this is. Now we are not understanding exactly what is the swarupa, what is the nature of ignorance. So for 5 minutes they talked. And Udiya Baba quietly sitting there. When they completed their question, see, a lot of people, when they find out some knowledge, something wrong, then they will present their question and then they will explain their own question also. Some people have this habit. As soon as they completed, Udiya Baba asked only one question to them. They were talking in Hindi. It's very nice Hindi sentences there. आपको अज्ञान जानना है या अज्ञान की निवृत्ति करनी है? Do you want to know what ignorance is, or you want to remove the ignorance? What is important for us? Importance is that avidya is our problem, and removing ignorance is the solution for us, not what ignorance is there, how long ignorance is there, how ignorance is being created. That's not the issue for us. Our problem is avidya is the problem. How to remove avidya is important for us. Understand? And therefore, Shankaracharya says, we have to understand this one point, that karma cannot remove ignorance because it is not opposite to ignorance. Only knowledge can remove the ignorance, as the light can remove the darkness. No other way we can remove the darkness. Only light can remove the darkness. And therefore, not you, the self, Atma, is also not opposite to the ignorance. Atma is the one, Chaitanya is one, which illumines the ignorance. And therefore, Atma also is not opposite to ignorance. Karma also is not opposite to ignorance. Only the knowledge of the self is one which is opposite to the ignorance, and therefore by self-knowledge only, Swarupa Gnanasya Agnana Virodhitva, the knowledge of the true nature of the self is one which is opposite to avidya, ignorance. One thing. Second, Atma, you are the consciousness. Understand these two things. You are, and you are conscious being. That is known to you. Anybody can say, I don't think I am. Can you say that? No. Everybody has a knowledge of self-existence. I am, understand. And I am conscious, I am Chaitanya, I am consciousness. That also is known to you. Yesterday we saw Sat and Chit. The existence also is known to you. The consciousness also is known to you. Nobody needs to tell, oh, you are. No. Not only that, everybody knows I am not an inert object. I am consciousness. The Chit also is known to you. I am is known to us. Shankaracharya says, therefore, nahi kaschit atma nama asiddha aprasiddha vastu asti. In second chapter Gita, Shankaracharya in Bhashya says, Atma is not totally unknown to you. Aprasiddha means unknown to you. You know I am. I means consciousness, am is existence. The existence, consciousness is known to you, understand? But problem is what? That existence is being limited by the time between birth and death. It's called time bound. We have limited our existence between birth and the death. Not only that, our consciousness, that consciousness is being limited by this body. I am not outside the body. And so, the existence is time bound and the consciousness is space bound. Therefore, now what we have to do? See, look at this Gita's verse, therefore. What is the Swarupa of Gna? What is the Swarupa of the self? Avinashi tu tadvidhi. You are the one which is not limited by time. Avinashi, cannot be destroyed by anything. You are all existence. Not only that, Yena sarvamidam tatam. You are the one which is pervaded everywhere. You are not limited by the body, mind, sense complex. You are all pervasive. So the existence is known to you, consciousness is known to you, but limitless consciousness is not known to you. Why? Ignorance is there. And by knowledge of the true nature of the self, this ignorance is removed. Because self is now not opposite to the ignorance, only the knowledge of the self is opposite to the ignorance. And therefore, we have to have that, we have to create that knowledge in our buddhi. That knowledge removes the ignorance. And therefore, Shankaracharya very clearly said, as the deep darkness is being removed by the light, same way this ignorance of the self is being removed by the knowledge of the self. Karma cannot remove, and therefore directly karma is not involved in the removal of the ignorance, but karma is useful for the purification of the mind, where the knowledge is going to take place. Why I am discussing this? Because as I said, the knowledge has to be born in your buddhi. But if buddhi is not pure, the purification of the mind is not there, the knowledge does not take place. Knowledge takes place only in the pure mind. Therefore, karma also is required for the purification of the mind, where the knowledge can take place. And therefore, we don't say that karma is useless. Karma is useful for the purification of the mind. But only knowledge of the self can remove that. And therefore, in our buddhi, the knowledge has to be born. It has to be created to remove the ignorance. And therefore, Shankaracharya says that only knowledge can remove the ignorance. Now, if you say the knowledge only can remove the ignorance, then there is a question here. Verse number 4. Very beautifully, all verses are connected to each other, understand? That suppose you say that ignorance is there for the problem, and if I remove the ignorance, then I am the Nitya Mukta Atma, I am eternally liberated self. Suppose you say that way. So then that means what? If I remove the ignorance, then that knowledge is there. But prati shariram pruthak pruthagatmani vidyamane sati katham ekatvam. Look at. You are telling Atma as a singular, one Atma. But I am seeing so many Atmas. Every body there is a one Atma. So are there many Atmas? Or there is a one Atma? Look. So we don't say there are many Atmas, only one Atma. If it is a one Atma, then one more question can come. If one Atma is there, if one person removes the ignorance, then everybody should be knowledge. Everybody should gain the knowledge, because there is only one Atma. There is a one cult going on in Bharat. That's how the Guru was telling. That once I remove my ignorance, all my students' ignorance will go. Student ignorance is not gone. Guru is gone, understand? But still all students are ignorant. That means what? Guru also is what? Ignorant. According to his logic, understand? So, we need to understand this properly. As the sun is one, but if there are so many pots are there, vessels are there filled with the water, what will happen? Every pot where the water is there, the sun is going to be reflected. So from the standpoint of reflection, there are many suns are there. But from the standpoint of the original sun, it is only one sun. Now, that pot, that sun is being reflected. But being there in that reflection, suppose the reflection thinks, I am here, I am pot. As we think here, I am limited by the body. That's why I said that consciousness is being limited by the body. Then what will happen? Each part, if they are conscious being, each part where the reflection is there has to be understood that this is not the reflection, is not the real sun. The real sun is different. Same way. Everywhere where that ignorance is there, you have to remove your ignorance. I have to remove my ignorance. He has to remove his ignorance. Understand that. And therefore, though it is limitless, but it is reflected in this body. Swamiji used to tell very nicely that consciousness is there, it is a light. And the buddhi, which is a sattvika buddhi, being a sattvic buddhi, it reflects the consciousness. So reflected consciousness is there in the buddhi, and therefore buddhi looks live, Chaitanya. The reflected consciousness in the buddhi is reflected in the mind. And therefore mind also is live, Chaitanya. That reflected consciousness in the mind is being reflected by the senses. And therefore senses also are live. And that reflected consciousness in the eyes illumines the object of the world. Understand this. And that all the senses, we have 5 senses are there, ears are there, karanendriya. Then this touch, that is a tvagendriya, skin. Then chakshurendriya, eyes. Then rasanendriya, tongue. Jihva. Then granendriya, nose. Now, out of these 5, one sense is all pervading. The skin is all over body. And therefore, what happens? Because this sense of touch is all pervasive in the body, and therefore this whole body also looks live. Buddhi is live, Chaitana, man is Chaitana, Indriya is Chaitana. This body also looks live, understand? It's not a dead body. Why? Because that reflection is there. That the sense of touch is all over the body. Skin is there, and therefore the body also is live. So now our mind is seeing this reflection and take the reflection as I. I am body, I am eyes, I am mind, I am buddhi. Understand? So now we have superimposed all this on the self. I am body, I am senses, I am mind, I am buddhi. And being limited ourselves with this, we are unhappy. So therefore, now this next verse is talking about that how we have limited ourselves in this one body, mind, sense complex. And therefore we are unhappy. But that limitation is there as long as this ignorance is there. And therefore, the ignorance has to be removed. But removing ignorance here is different than other things. Suppose I don't know Tamil language. Then I learn Tamil language. Understand? So when I learn, the ignorance of Tamil is gone. Suppose I don't know how to make cake, Then I learned how to make the cake. Then I make the cake. I know how to make it. So there are two types of the ignorance. Understand this properly. There are two types of the ignorance is there. One is the ignorance of other than I, and the ignorance of the self. See, once the front light is there, there is the reflection. So there are two types of the ignorance is there. Ignorance of the other objects and ignorance of the self. Ignorance of other object is very simple. I don't know mobile and I know the mobile, that ignorance is gone. But when it comes to the self, it is not that simple. Suppose I don't know Russian language. Does it going to create any problem with me? No, I can live my life without knowing Russian. I can live my life without knowing what is Australia. I can live my life without knowing what the galaxy is. I can live my life without knowing what the kidney is in my body. I can live. Do you understand? The ignorance of other objects is not going to create any problem in your life. But when there is the ignorance of the self, there is a problem. And why? Because as I said, you are and you are conscious being. Sat and Chit is known to you. That means what? I don't know galaxy. That is a total ignorance is there. But when it comes to the self, it is not total ignorance. It's not that totally you don't know. You know I am. So in Shastra, it is called, there are two things are there. I know, but I don't know. Understand? So for this, we'll take the example of the rope and snake. Look at this. If there is a darkness and you don't see the rope at all, is it a possibility that you will superimpose snake on the rope? No, because you don't know. You don't see the rope at all. Now there is a total light is there. You see this is a rope. There is a possibility of superimposition of the rope and snake there? No. That means if the total ignorance is there, there is no possibility of the superimposition. If there is a total knowledge is there, then also there is no possibility of the superimposition. Superimposition means moha, delusion. But here is what? I know I am Satchit. But at the same time, I have superimposed on myself, I am body, mind, sense complex. Called moha or delusion or superimposition, adhyaropa. So how is it possible? So therefore, we say there are two types of the knowledge. Understand this properly. Samanya gnanam, vishesha gnanam. General knowledge. General knowledge means knowledge of the existence. And there is a special knowledge of the nature of the object. So, when there is a half light, little bit light, hazy light is there, then what will happen? You see something circular in the room. Something circular in the room. Now, you have seen the snake with this circle, you know. So what will happen? Something is there, that existence. Do you understand? Existence. Something is there. Samanya gnanam, existence. But what is that you don't know? And so what you conclude? This is a snake. Instead of telling this is a rope, you said this is a snake. So that means The existence is known, the nature is not known. Since Sanskrit is called idam asti, this is. But when you ask, what is this? Then you say, this is snake. So, same way, Satchit I am is known to you. You are is known to you. Nobody has to come and tell you, oh, you are, No. But when the question is, who are you? Then there is a problem. Who are you? I am human being. I am man. I am woman. I am father. I am mother. I am educated. I am housewife. I am Malaysian. I am Indian. I am Australian. I am old. I am young. I am tall. I am short. I am very emotional. Look at this. So I say, I am, and this tail is there, like Hanuman. Hanuman had a long tail. So we have also this long tail. I am man, then I am woman, I am father, I am brother, I am businessman. Look at this. It goes on and on and on. Understand this? Therefore, when it comes to the self, it is not the ignorance like other object ignorance. Because self is known to you. I am is known to you. But what is the true nature of the self is not known to you. Exactly like rope and snake. You know something is there, and then you say, this is a snake. As soon as you say this is a snake, then what will happen? Not only that, suppose somebody opens the door, and right in front of the door, this rope is there, the thick rope, the coconut thread rope. I don't know what they call in the English. With the coconut threads, they make the rope. So it has a very sharp, these threads. And by mistake, suppose this fellow has put the leg on that one, and then one of the thread has hurt him. Then he thinks what? Oh, the snake has bitten me. That's it. As soon as that thought comes to his mind, the snake has bitten me, what will happen? Bhaya, the fear is there. He is so frightened. His body starts shivering. Not only that this body is shivering, whole body there is a perspiration. His eyes are, big eyes. Heartbeat also is increased. And he tried to run away, and he hit his forehead on the door. So he got hurt here. He's shouting, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. I'm bitten by the snake. Look at this. Then, hearing his shouting, another person comes. What happened? Oh, the snake has bitten me. There is in the room. In the room there is a snake. This fellow goes there and see there is a rope on it. Now look at this. This man has to do what? He has to take this fellow to this door and say, look, there is no snake. This is a rope. Same way, we all are ignorant, not only ignorant, we have superimposed all these things on us. And as long as this ignorance is there, this superimposition is not going to go. I am body, I am mind, I am emotional, I am intellectual, I am this, I am that. Now, see this. Do you remove to snake? Do you need to remove the snake? Or you have to know the rope? Do you understand what I'm telling? Do you need to remove the snake or you have to know the rope? You have to know the rope. As soon as you know the rope, snake is gone. Same way, what we are doing here, we don't need to remove the superimposition. You remove the ignorance of the self, all superimposition is gone. As the person says this is a rope, everything is gone. So, all the superimpositions are there, and we are working on this superimposition. I need to have my body healthy. I need to have healthy mind. Look at this. All our life is centered on this upadhi, this body, mind, sense complex. Always we are trying to correct this one. I had one student, he is no more. He used to go for yoga. Daily for 1 hour, morning he used to go. And at the age of 75 also, he could sit down without any help, any support. And he can get up also. Very nice body he has maintained. But in the class, I used to tell, with yoga is required. I 100% I am with that we need to have half an hour yoga every day. Some yogasana, some pranayama is required to keep this body healthy. But this yoga asana or that pranayama also, how long it helps you? As long as you are healthy, understand. Once you are on the bed, no pranayama, no asana helps you. Same thing happened to this man. He had a stroke. All yogasana and all pranayama, nothing can help. We have to be very careful. Everything has a place. Karma also has a place in our life. Yogasana, pranayama also has a place in the life. But knowledge is important. Because without knowledge, all these things are useless. So we are centered on what? This body, mind, sense complex. We keep on correcting. We keep on trying to be healthy. And therefore, Shankaracharya is telling us that our problem is not this body, mind, sense complex. Our problem is not relationship. Our problem is not this world. Our problem is our ignorance, not knowing the true nature of the self. Not knowing the rope created fear in the mind, created heartbeats in the mind. Look at this. And therefore, in this verse, Shankaracharya very nicely is bringing this topic that even though all this karma, bhakti, yoga, everything is required in our life, but the problem is that all these superimpositions are, and we are always working on this superimposition as the person tries to kill the snake. He doesn't need to kill the snake. He has to know the rope. Knowing the rope, snake is gone. Same way, we have to know the self. Because self is known, but not totally known to us. Only the existence of the self is known to us. The true nature of the self is not known to us. That is our problem. And therefore, we need to know the true nature of the self. Samanya Gnanam is there, Vishesha Gnanam is not there, which has created the superimposition, Adhyaropa. Now, we don't need to work on the Adhyaropa, we have to know the true nature of the self, all Adhyaropa will go away. And not only that, knowledge also, when we say knowledge, our Rishi Munis have very depth research about our mind. Not only how knowledge takes place also is being researched very well. See here, you are listening to me and you understand what I'm talking, right? So you see this orange color. I said this is orange color and you see this is orange. Simple. So we think that I see and I know. I hear and I know. But in reality, it is not one step. It is two steps. What? Understand. First, suppose you are seeing this orange color. Then what is that? With the eyes, you are seeing this orange cloth. This fabric you see. So what eyes are doing? Eyes are taking this cloth. That means the eyes is covering this cloth. It's called vritti vyapti. In Sanskrit, it's called vritti vyapti. So first, eyes is taking this cloth to the mind. So suppose there is a pot. So then eyes are seeing the pot. Pot is called ghata in Sanskrit. So in the mind, the vritti, the thought will be that pot thought will be the ghatakar vritti, pot thought. So first, eyes will see the pot, and in the mind, that ghatakar vritti, the pot thought will be there. Understand this properly. So once the pot thought is there in your mind, because it is a thought which being created, it is inert. The pot thought is there in the mind, but the vritti is being inert, being created. It has to be illumined by something. So you, the consciousness, illumines that pot thought. As we already discussed, that whatever is there in your mind, you know. What you don't know, everything is known to you. So you are that consciousness which illumines the mind. So you, the consciousness, illumines that pot thought. And then you say, I know pot. So the two steps are there. First one is called vritti vyapti, means you create a pot thought, ghatakar vritti in the mind. Then you, the consciousness, illumines the pot thought and say, I know pot. It's called phala vyapti. For any knowledge, these two steps are there. First, it is being created, it has to be created the thought in your mind. That means any object has to enter in your mind through the senses, whether it's a shabda or sparsha or anything. Once that thought is there, that thought is being illuminated by you, the consciousness. Vritti vyapti, phala vyapti. Understand this properly. Now, when it comes to the self-knowledge, do we need these two processes? No. The thought which is being created, ghatakar vritti, pot thought, when the pot thought is created in the mind, the ignorance of the pot is removed. Pot thought removes the ignorance of the pot. Then you, consciousness, illumines pot thought and say, I know pot. But when it comes to the self, ignorance, we say that by knowledge in the buddhi, we remove the ignorance in the buddhi. Once the ignorance is removed, do we need to illumine? We say no. And tomorrow we'll see the verse, then you will understand what I'm talking. See, this verse is so depth that I have to give you the whole explanation. So, knowledge removes the ignorance in the mind, then I know self that doesn't require. As in the pot example, first the pot thought is there, then you say, I know the pot. It is not same. With reference to the self, only first step is required, vritti vyapti is required. Once that vritti vyapti is there, it removes the ignorance, then self is what? It's a self-effulgent self. It's a self-effulgent, swaprakasha chaitanya, and therefore phala vyapti is not required. So that is what explained here in this fourth verse that we will see tomorrow. Now onwards, we will complete our class by 6:15. I will give you 5-10 minutes, whatever if you don't understand, we'll discuss that and then we'll conclude the class. Any question? You can write the question if you don't want to say anything. You can write the question also. Anybody?
Anybody can raise your doubts.
Question? We'll conclude the class. Amma?
Okay, sure.
Om asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrutyorma amrutangamaya. Om purnamada purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnameva vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Hari Om
Hari Om Mama.
Hari Om Om
Swamini, Hari Om Mataji. Swamini.
Hari Om Hari Om.